everyone. So happy you've joined us for another informative weekend edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Inside this pre-Labor Day weekend show, we're giving you a step-by-step demonstration of how to plant and sustain a tree. Remember to join the national movement and plant at least one tree on May 23. It's Saturday, so of course we're being health-wise. Details coming up. There's much more on the agenda. Don't move. It all unfolds after this quick break.
Labor Day 2023, that are the pre. Just mark down the date, Tuesday, May 23. Right time to plant a tree. Start weed out the place. Grab a lass, grab a shovel, make we green up the space. Fruit tree, shade tree, make we plant it there. It no matter if it big or if it little, yeah. Ready up and listen and follow me there. Make us a ropes. 99.9% of shade where they bought from the tree, them they round ya. Big up the people who plant up the trees years ago. Now we know, say the action they wiser. More tree food security a run up. Go on in daddy, I go plant a tree and make it come up. Shade it a go give we now the summer and go burn up. We a plant up the tree so we environment a turn up. 99.9% of shade where they bought from the tree, them they round ya. Big up the people who plant up the trees years ago. Now we know, say the action they wiser.
This Labor Day, May 23, plant a tree for life. Promoting climate change, food security and road safety. A message from the Labor Day Secretariat.
Thanks again for being here. Labor Day is coming up Tuesday, May 23, and tree planting is the major focus for this year's observation. As promised at the top, we're showing you how to plant and care for trees with a bit of a lesson on their importance to life and the environment.
Trees are often considered the lungs of the earth. As part of their life cycle, they take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the atmosphere. Let's all continue this necessary part of keeping our planet healthy by planting more trees. And here's how you do it. First things first, decide what tree you will be planting. Is it one that will provide timber? Shade? Will it beautify your space or will you be eating its fruits? Once that's settled, you need to consider what kind of conditions it would need to grow. Naturally, some plants do better in some areas than others, while others need full exposure to sunlight versus those that can survive without direct light. And there's also the soil type to consider. Some trees thrive near seasides. Others prefer mountain areas, while certain trees are content in the valleys. Next up, space. Some trees grow wide, others tall. While you may be able to prune trees to keep them under control, some lose their essence when tamed. So, be sure to plant large trees in areas where they will have adequate space to grow. If you have a smaller space, consider growing a smaller tree that requires less pruning to keep it in check. Then there's the matter of your fully grown tree posing a threat to nearby structures. As a country situated in the hurricane belt, downed trees during times of disaster is a part of our reality. There's also the pesky issue of trees which shed their leaves profusely, and others with copious amounts of flowers and fruits, which might just be the cause of a dispute with your neighbor if planted near the fence. That being said, be sure to plant trees at a safe distance from walls, power lines, fences, sidewalks, and the very foundation of your house. Once you've considered all those tips, it's time to plant.
First step is to dig a hole, right? Not too deep, about a foot and a half, not too wide either, because you're not burying the plant. You're trying to provide a nice area for it to grow, right? Upon digging your hole, if you notice that the soil type is clay, that is the kind of coarse soil type, you'd probably need topsoil, right? Because when you're putting back the soil, it's going to be a challenge for you. But after that, you dampen the soil, ensure that it's moist, provide a moist area or environment for the plant to be planted in. Ensure the plant is in the center of the hole. If you dig the hole a bit too deep, there's a process known as backfilling, right? That's when you put back the dirt into the soil to a certain height that is much favorable for you and for the plant. After you do that, you want to dampen the soil, right? Ensure the plant is in the center, because you end up having a plant to grow lean or to the side, because plants grow into the direction of the sunlight. Ensure that the soil goes up to the root collar. Now the root collar is where the stem and the root of the plant or the root plug meet, right? You don't want to go above that. Once you do finish that, you water it, then you stake it. When I say stake, you take either a bamboo stake or a regular stake, put a flagging tape beside onto it and put it beside the plant. That is you marking the plant. So once you're doing any maintenance, you yourself or any other individual in the area can know that, hey, there's something planted there, so you don't end up wasting your effort and time when planting. The most important thing is watering after and nurturing the plants. So you water early mornings and late evenings. If you water in between those times, especially in the afternoons, the plant will end up struggling with the intake of the water, right? Because the sun is going to be evaporating at the same time it's trying to take in the nutrients. You can also mulch, fertilize, or add kaya dust or sawdust to the mound to help lock in moisture for the plant.
And there you have it, a step-by-step demonstration of how to plant a tree. Call 876-618-3205 or visit 173 Constant Spring Road to get your plant seedlings. Happy planting!
Register your alma mater for the Forestry Department's My Tree Legacy promotion and be a part of the preservation of Jamaica land we love. St. Catherine High past student Prime Minister Andrew Holness recently participated in the initiative.
It is not just because it sounds like a very nice thing to do to plant trees. It is a very real strategic response in being a responsible government, a responsible nation, a caring nation about our planet and our atmosphere and our climate and our environment to plant trees.
Let us highlight your contribution to the My Tree Legacy promotion by submitting videos or pictures of you leaving your mark. Every tree counts. Plant a tree today and keep climate change away.
Last year, 488 Jamaicans died in road crashes. We don't want a repeat of that carnage in 2023. The new Road Traffic Act is about ensuring you arrive alive. Do your part. Obey all traffic signals. Wear your seatbelt and helmets. Let's make our roads safe for everyone.
Did you know you can get fruit tree seedlings to plant from the Forestry Department and the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA? Yeah man, visit them before May 23 to get your seedlings and plant a tree for Labor Day. By the way, whether you're planting fruit trees or other crops on a small or large scale, RADA can also help you understand and implement climate-smart agricultural practices. You can also watch our next feature for tips.
With a degree of increasing urgency on our actions to combat fast rising temperatures and slow sea levels eroding closer inland, what we do about climate change today will matter. The effects of climate change are far-reaching, and food security is one of the areas affected. As protecting our food security remains a high-level priority, climate-smart agriculture takes on increasing importance. This way of harvesting food uses better farming practices to reduce its contributions to greenhouse gas emissions, while increasing production output. Smart agricultural practices include reducing deforestation, better soil management, and intercropping. Climate-smart agriculture practices are intended to achieve three major outcomes. 1. Increased productivity. More food is needed to feed the global population as it continues to grow exponentially. Equally important is ensuring sustainable incomes for farmers, distributors, and key players driving the agriculture industry. Data from the World Bank indicates that 75% of the world's poor who live in rural areas rely on agriculture for their livelihoods. Number 2. Resilience to climate change threats. Increasing severe weather conditions caused by a warmer Earth means more drastic impact on agriculture output. To prevent this from happening, farmers can implement these practices, changing crops and livestock to ones better suited to the climate, and using technology to develop resistant variations of foods such as rice and bean plants. 3. Reduce greenhouse gas emissions, caused by farming inputs such as fertilizers. Sharply reducing the use of fertilizers that produce gases such as carbon dioxide and nitrogen through crop rotation practices is one green-checked option. To truly practice proper climate-smart techniques, the dialogue must be tailored to the different climate experiences across the world. In Jamaica's context, areas of major concern include the island's vulnerability to hurricanes, flooding, and droughts. The government has been implementing several programs at the community and national levels in partnership with regional and international agencies. The mission is to build climate resilience in Jamaica's agriculture sector.
We are investing $230,000 US in partnership with the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, for a pilot program on climate resilience, on the expansion and upgrading of seed storage facility at the Bodles Research Station. This is important. This facility is going to house the best quality seeds, including our own seed source from locally developed and indigenous landrace types for vegetables, cover crops, field crops, and legumes.
The Bodles Research Station is just one aspect of Jamaica's strategic plan to ensure sustainable crop production through proper seed storage. Planting crops conducive to the rainy and dry season is another climate-resilient food security measure.
Our goal is to encourage our farmers to plant more, but not just to plant more. We want to plant the heat and drought-tolerant varieties of crops, such as cassava, which are more suitable for our climate.
In the fisheries sector, several fish sanctuaries have been declared and fish farmers trained. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Forage Club recently partnered with the United Nations Development Programme UNDP to train 600 youth farmers and fishers on how to utilize agriculture practices that will withstand climate change and how to recover quickly from its impact. The 6-month pilot project will run from September 2022 to February 2023. A major part of implementing smarter farming practices is the collaboration of all partners involved in this sector. As more information emerges, followed by more robust action on climate change policies from countries across the globe, the agriculture sector will be in a better position to meet the food production demand.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Climate-smart agriculture is one way of mitigating against the disastrous effects of climate change. Another disaster to keep in mind is one that can happen at any time without warning. I'm talking about earthquakes. Jamaica experiences several earth tremors yearly, some more noticeable and destructive than others. In this next feature, we'll get some perspectives about building smart to reduce the likelihood of major damage from earthquakes.
We ask developers, we ask persons who have an interest to develop land, that, and even overwater structures and sea, we ask that you adhere to the policies and the guidelines that we would have presented in the different policies, guidelines that the National Environment and Planning Agency has. We have the development order, we have different protections and acts that we regulate. We have the Natural Resources Conservation Act, we have Wildlife Act, we have several acts. We have a plethora of policies, guidelines, and we have what I would call a structured legislative framework that can guide persons, and we request and ask that persons adhere to these regulations and these laws that we have. They're here to protect you, and they're here to guide you and how you develop your natural and built spaces, and also to ensure that we have soundness in our development and also to protect our people.
We ask the citizenry to have your buildings designed by the reputable persons, whether it be architects or engineers, and have the construction executed by a reputable constructor or contractor. There are some fundamental areas inside of the building that we expect the constructors to focus on in the event of an earthquake, and these areas are the foundation and the columns. Those are critical to keep the buildings up while there's an earthquake. So we ask that the junctions where you can have shear taking place be properly constructed in order to have the building lasting longer to allow the citizen or the occupant to leave the building.
In the event of an earthquake, we must be always mindful of the fact that one, you cannot move, or you should not be moving about when the shaking takes place. Duck, cover and hold until after the shaking stops. After the shaking stops, if you see the need, then you can call the nearest fire station, 110, or most important, 112 if you don't have any signal. So if the cell service goes, you will see your cell phone saying emergency calls only. Once you press the call sign, it will take you to 112. 112 will automatically take you to the country that you're in, to the emergency services, and it will get assistance to you. But most importantly, persons need to know the number for their nearest fire station.
Have you been waiting more than 12 months to do surgery for hernia, prostate, fibroids, or other womb-related surgeries? Then you should contact the Ministry of Health and Wellness by calling 876-320-8694, 876-320-9133, 876-320-9164, or 876-320-9373. Calls are to be made between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. You can also email projectcodecare@moh.gov.jm. You will be required to provide your name, medical record number, the type of surgery, and the health facility where you made your appointment. The last day to contact the Ministry of Health and Wellness is Wednesday, May 31, 2023.
We are near the close of Jamaica Magazine today, but there is still time to look at another important subject. This week's Healthwise focus is on breastfeeding. In the month that we celebrate our children, let's not forget one of the things that can give them the healthy start they need in life.
Every child has the right to enough nourishing food to grow well and flourish. For the very young, breast milk remains the best food source.
Data from the World Health Organization shows that breast milk, as the natural first food for babies, provides all the energy and nutrients that the infant needs for the first 6 months of life. and it continues to provide up to half or more of a child's nutritional needs during the second half of the first year and up to 1/3 during the second year of life.
Breast milk provides much needed antibodies to protect babies against all kinds of infections. The colostrum or foremilk, which is the first milk produced by mothers after giving birth, is the baby's first immunization against some infections. Babies who are exclusively breastfed have less episodes of diarrhea, acute respiratory infection, and skin conditions.
Appropriate breastfeeding practices, therefore, have the potential to reduce infant mortality in children ages 5 years and younger by 14%, while appropriate complementary feeding up to 2 years of age is capable of preventing an additional 6% of deaths in this age range.
Breastfeeding also establishes a close, loving bond between mother and baby. In addition, mothers benefit from improved postpartum recovery, reduced iron loss, and decreased risk of breast and ovarian cancers. Another benefit? Mothers need not spend on infant formulas, which can be a huge financial burden.
Breastfeeding is a universal solution that has proven to improving the health, well-being, and survival of women and children around the world. It helps to prevent malnutrition in all its forms, ensures food security for infants and young children, and thus helps to bring people and nations out of hunger and the poverty cycle. That's big. That's quite profound.
Men can actively participate and support the breastfeeding mother. So even, for example, if the milk is expressed and placed in a clean container or cup, then the father can be the one to feed the child from the cup with the breast milk.
In cases where the mother is breastfeeding, the father can support her by doing chores to ease her burden.
Some quick tips on breastfeeding for mommy to eat from all the 7 food groups that keep you healthy. Continue taking your maternal supplements. Remember, baby is getting all its nutrients from breastfeed milk, and make sure that when baby sleeps, you sleep, because babies don't have a special time to sleep, so you have to get rest when baby sleeps.
Mothers who choose not to breastfeed are encouraged to discuss this issue with their healthcare provider. Individual counseling on breastfeeding is important for dispelling any myths or concerns.
And we need to embrace the traditional approaches as it relates to lactating mothers, as it relates to development of our newborns. And there is very little technology that is going to change that reality, that the breast is best and is still the best.
Medical experts recommend the initiation of breastfeeding within half hour of birth. Do not give newborns any food or drink other than breast milk unless medically indicated. And encourage breastfeeding on demand. Also, don't give artificial teats or pacifiers to breastfeeding infants.
The hope for the ministry is that every child receives a fair opportunity at benefiting from the tremendous nutritional and other critical values, psycho-emotional, physiological, economic, and hygienic advantages of breastfeeding.
Do what's best for your child. Breastfeed and give them a healthy start to a long life.
Children are the future, and ensuring our future is healthy requires that children are always provided with nutritious foods to grow well and live long. Unhealthy diets high in sugar, salt, and fat consumed by children may make them obese and prone to non-communicable diseases later in life. Healthy foods and beverages not only help them learn better, but also protects them from non-communicable diseases such as some cancers, diabetes, hypertension, and cardiovascular diseases in their childhood and adult life. So, whether it's at home, in the lunch bag, or at school, let's make healthy foods and beverages for our children the only rule.
Hey there! So I recently came across a post from the World Health Organization, and I'm just here assuming that, like me, you're also looking for ways to take care of yourself, right? Well, let's hope so. The post read, 1 in 2 young people is at risk of hearing loss. So here goes. This is what I learned about safe listening habits. How do you even know when noise is damaging your hearing? There are easy tells, and most likely you've experienced one, if not all. You have to raise your voice to talk to other people. You cannot hear what people nearby are saying. It hurts your ears. You have ringing hearing after. Did you hear that? Okay, back to what I was saying. If you have ringing in your ears or muffled hearing afterwards, the noise is quite possibly loud enough to damage your hearing. So, what can you do? Keep the volume down. Do not listen to music at more than 60% of the maximum volume. Do not use earphones or headphones for more than an hour at a time. Take a break for at least 5 minutes every hour. Use earplugs in noisy places. Also, if you're in a noisy environment, try to take a break every 15 minutes. Give your hearing about 18 hours to recover after exposure to lots of loud noise. Limit time spent on loud activities. Monitor sound levels using mobile apps. And finally, check your hearing regularly. We oftentimes drown our listening habits in the noise and the vibe, but as you just learned, it takes very little to take care of our hearing health. And that's it. Easy, simple, and done. Happy hearing.
This is where we end the program. Be here on this station tomorrow, and we will have much more to share. Until then, there is more to watch over on our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Remember, children need our love and our protection. So show them you care and do your part this Labor Day.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.